Okay, let's review operations on functions. We have function f and function g, and they're defined right here. Okay, f of x is x squared minus 4, and g of x is 4 over x minus 4. Okay? We have all these things we need to find. We need to find the operation f plus g, the operation f minus g, the operation f times g, the operation f divided by g, the composition of f and g, and the composition of g and f. Okay, so lots of things to find. Okay, let's start off finding the addition of the two. Well, the instructions say to add f to g, so we just take what f is equal to, and we're going to add that to what g is equal to. Okay, so f plus g of x, they put these brackets around. I'm going to save myself some time and not even put them on there. I'm going to say that and I do it anyway. Okay, x squared minus 4 plus 4 over x minus 4. Okay. We wanted to simplify this a little bit farther. We can find a common denominator for these two. This denominator currently is 1. We can make that x minus 4. Well, yeah. Okay. So we can take the top and the bottom times x minus 4. We have this. Okay, and then you need to FOIL top here. First, inside, outside, and last. Okay, so x times x squared is x cubed. And then we have a minus 4x squared and a minus 4x and a plus 16. That's all over x minus 4. And then I still have my plus 4 over x minus 4 over here. Okay, since now I have two fractions, this big one and this other one that have the same denominator, I can add them. So I'm just going to combine them, add them together. So numerator plus other numerator. The only thing that's the same, like terms in the two numerators, are 16 and 4. So I have x cubed minus 4x squared minus 4x plus 20 all over x minus 4. That's adding. Subtracting, the same idea. Okay, you can pause that to get those if you want. I'm going to erase them now. So subtracting f minus g of x. Okay, we just take f and we're going to subtract. I'm going to put that in parentheses just so I don't forget what I'm doing with it. Okay, same idea here. Common denominator. Well, we already know what that is. Okay, I should have written that down off to the side. To find the common denominator, you guys probably already have this because you're putting it down over there. Okay, that minus this. Okay, and we FOILed that. X cubed minus 4x squared minus 4x plus 16 all over x minus 4 minus 4 over x minus 4. And now the difference this time is that it's not 16 plus 4, it's 16 minus 4. So we have x cubed minus 4x squared minus 4x plus 12 over x minus 4. Subtraction of f and g. Now multiply. f times g of x. Okay? Well, that says to take f times g of x. Well, f isn't really written as a fraction, so let's write it as a fraction. Let's put it over 1. And now the rules with fractions when you multiply them is to multiply straight across. So I'm going to multiply the numerator of f, which is x squared minus 4, times the numerator of g, which is 4. So I'm going to take 4 times x squared minus 4. I just rearranged where the 2 were. I put the 4 in front. The 4 comes from the g function. Okay? Put that in front. And I just put the f value behind, just so that they were in a nice order for distribution in a minute. Okay, and then 1 times x minus 4 is just x minus 4. Okay, because 1 times anything is itself. Okay, so up top, we can distribute. And we get 4x squared minus 16 over x minus 4. And we should be done with that one. Okay. Okay, f divided by g of x. Now we take f, and we're going to divide it, and this is going to look weird because I'm going to write a fraction in the denominator of a fraction. Okay, when you divide by a fraction, okay, an easy way to do this is to take the numerator and rewrite it, and I'm actually going to turn it into a fraction. Then I'm going to multiply it by the reciprocal of the denominator. So the reciprocal, or the multiplicative inverse of the denominator, which is x minus 4 over 4. Okay, now I just multiply straight across like we did on multiplication. So it makes it pretty simple, except the numerator here, well, I'm going to rewrite this so that I can see what I'm actually doing. This is probably a step you can skip when you get faster at it. 1 times 4 is 4. So the numerator is multiplied. Okay, this means I need to FOIL because I have 2 binomials up here. So I need to FOIL that. Well, I think we've actually seen this before when we did the common denominator. It should turn out to be this. X cubed minus 4x squared minus 4x plus 16 all over 4. Okay, that's dividing. Now compose, that's a little bit different. F compose G. I know it looks like fog and goth, but we say F compose G. So let's talk about that. F compose G of X. Okay, another way, a more complicated way of writing it is to say F of G of X. They're kind of nested functions if you're into computer science or whatever. So they're nested in one function goes inside the other one. So basically the instructions here when you see F compose G or F of G of X is to take the G function and put it into the F function. Okay, so we're going to take the G function and put it in where the X was on the F function. So wherever there was an X in the F function, namely right there, we're going to replace the X with the G of X, whatever that is, which is this. Okay, so I'm going to put 4 over 4 minus, or X minus 4, in parentheses squared, over 4. And a good habit to be in is when you're evaluating or substituting into a function is to take, or put parentheses around whatever you're putting in. Okay, it should help you, it should help make sense of the operations that you have to perform after you replace it. Okay, so to square a fraction, you square the numerator and the denominator. So we have 16 over x minus 4 squared. Okay, well, that is FOILing. I'm going to write that out for you, just in case you need to see this visually. Okay, so we need to FOIL the denominator here. X times x. X times x is x squared, so we have 16, and then we have x squared minus 4x minus 4x, so minus 8x. We have the minus 4x here and minus 4x here. And then the last, we have plus 16, minus 4 times minus 4. And then subtract 4 from that. Okay, and then common denominator, we need to put this in the denominator, which means we need to multiply it by the same thing in the numerator. And then we can add these. Okay, and I'm going to distribute this through as I do that. Okay, so we have 16 minus 4x squared. 4 times 8, 32, minus 32x. And 4 times 16. Oop, forget that. We have 16 minus this whole thing. So make sure that I put parentheses around that baby. Okay. And then 4 times 16, well, let's see. 4 times 6 is 24, and 4 times 10 is 40, so that's, what, 64? And the important reason here with these parentheses is that I have this minus sign on there, and I almost made the mistake of only subtracting the 4x squared instead of subtracting this entire thing, 4x squared minus 32x plus 64, which means I have to distribute that negative sign. And I could have just chosen to do that with my 4 here, but I kind of got ahead of myself. Okay? And then that's all over the common denominator. Okay? And now I need to change some signs. So I added a step to this process that I probably didn't need. 16 plus, nope, it's going to be a minus 4x squared. And then distribute that negative sign to each one of these. So then it's plus 32x minus 64. Okay? And it should be done now, but now we have one more step. We have a like term in the numerator. So negative 64 and a positive 16. Let's see, negative, what is that, 50 or 48, right? So negative 4x squared plus 32x minus 48 over x squared minus 8x plus 16. Okay, and we can get into a lot more things with simplifying those, but that's not where we're at right now. We just want to get it into a form. We're not into the factoring and canceling things yet, so we're just going to get this into the basic form we've got here. Okay. Okay, and let's look at the other one, because we can also look at the composition of the G composed F. So we're going to plug F in where G was. Okay, so we're going to put, this means G of F of X. So that means put the F function in wherever there's an X on the G function. This one actually looks like it'll be a little less complicated. And I say that, we'll find out when we get into it, I guess. So we're going to put this x squared minus 4 in where there's an x in the G function. So right down here. So we should have 4 over x squared minus 4 minus 4. That does look a heck of a lot more simple. X squared minus 4 is x squared minus 8. And without factoring, we don't have much else to do. And even with factoring, there's not a lot to do there. So that one is finished. So that's a review of operations on functions and composite functions.